Chapter 33 Yan Mo knows it is dangerous getting into the grassland. She was already injured. Yesterday, she walked for a little half an afternoon. Cao Ting and Yang Wei injured feet did not improve after a night, but got even more swollen. Today, Cao Ting can still walk. Yang Wei is obviously walking awkward, but he could dare not say anything about that. He was afraid to be slaughtered. Dr. Yan Mo was almost irritated yesterday and almost forgot about the injuries of the two slaves. The results came together in the morning, and the guide began to show its presence in a glowing way. When Yan Mo took the initiative to see the light up, he knew that there was no good thing coming. He was preparing to check, and the result was he was pushed. When Yuan Zhan pushed and passed away, Yan Mo had the opportunity to look down at his right palm. Because he ignored the pain of the known patients around him, the guide sentenced him to negligence and added 4 scum values to him. Fortunately, instead of seeing the injured and deliberately not saving, the guide will give him 10 points, otherwise he will really want to kill the injured slaves. Yan Mo felt a bit wrong. This time he really did not deliberately neglect, but really forgot. He originally intended to check the 2 people their foot injury, otherwise there would be 3 people in the team who are disabled. It is definitely one big tragedy. It is a pity that the scum points has been added. He can only remedy it and then lower it. This is a waste. You couldn't remind me. Yan Mo was dissatisfied with his right hand. The guide was unresponsive. Yan Mo laughed and lazily said, I know that you want me to keep the doctor's job in mind all the time, instead of reminding me, right? The guide was of course unresponsive. Yan Mo saw Yuan Zhan looking at him with strange eyes. Now he no longer talks to himself. He looked up and yells at Cao Ting, Yang Wei, Cao Ting, come over, I will check your feet. My feet are fine. Yang Wei almost immediately subconsciously retorted. In order to cover up, he did not even care about the pain. He deliberately took 2 steps, and these 2 steps made him feel so much pain that his forehead was instantly covered with cold sweat. If you are not afraid of delaying your trip and dragging me, do you think I wanted to pay attention to you? Yan Mo snorted, Cao Ting sister, you come over, your feet are sprained and you will be cured. It will only get worse and worse, and we will need our feet later. Cao Ting heard Yan Mo say to show her foot when it hurts. Her face is full of surprises, but she still turns her head to look at her master and ask for his consent. Yuan Diao certainly nodded, and personally helped Cao Ting and sent her to Yan Mo. Yuan Zhan rushed to pick it up quickly. He grabbed his backpack from his brother and put it on his back. He was about to leave. He heard that the little slave said that he would check Cao Ting and Yang Wei's sprained feet. He turned and rushed to the boy's side. Yuan Zhan saw this and had to go to Lai to stop him. Lai looked at the distance and frowned. He is checking their wounds. If we can't bring them, we just drop them. Yuan Zhan knows what Lai is saying. He has long found the grey shadows that were shaking in the distant grass at night. He immediately said, let Yan Mo cure them. That means more than anything to that guy. Maybe there is a way to make them walk through the grassland. And we do not really have to throw them on road. We can get rid of these evil beasts by feeding them the disabled slaves. Under the mound he sat. Yan Mo touched Cao Ting left foot, and determined that there was no fracture, only a sprain, and the swelling was not severe. Only after prodding and turning it the ankle would have a pain. Your situation is not serious. I will help you to relieve swelling and pain. Considering that you have to walk for a long time, I will fix the ankle. When you walk, try not to use this foot with too much force. It's so good to get a crutches. Cao Ting was relieved. She felt that her feet should better not twisted. But it's not that the tribe can let her stay in the tent to rest. The group has to go until they reach the goal, so her feet may be alive but may ruin the group's goal. Fortunately, there is Yan Mo that is good-hearted and he will cure the disease. Yan Mo explains the nouns and what crutches are. Diao turned around and went to find suitable materials nearby. Turning to give Cao Ting relief, Yan Mo to look at Yuan Meng who was beside him. I need to use the means taught by my tribe priest. You are not my tribe people, so you cannot see it, otherwise I will be soul cursed by my tribe priests. Meng's face showed disappointment, but no matter how powerful the warrior is, the hearts of the priests of all ethnic groups have deep secrecy, even if those priests have died. So when he heard Yan Mo say that he can only leave if he does not want to. After a while, can you help me with some ropes? I need them to be reattached. Meng turned and quickly replied, yes, there are some in the bag, wait for me to take it and bring it to you. He took the ropes off and pulled a few pieces of broken skin from the inside to handed them to the boy. Thank you. The boy smiled softly. Help me and tell the other people, tell them to not look here. Okay. Meng smirked and nodded and ran to get the backpack. Yan Mo looked at Cao Ting again and didn't speak. Cao Ting smiled and said, I also can't see it, right? I will close my eyes and make sure I don't look at it. Seeing Cao Ting honestly closed her eyes. Yan Mo nodded to the side, glanced around, and saw that Meng had already passed the words. No matter whether the warrior or the slave dared to look at this side, he pulled the golden needle. When Diao came back with 2 trunks of about 1.5 meters high and obviously shrubs, Yan Mo had already applied the needles, and was fixing her by wrapped in multiple pieces of animal skin planks. Cao Ting moved his left foot slightly and was happy. Ah! It really doesn't hurt, little Mo, you are really amazing. Diao handed the wooden stick that was simply slashed with a stone knife to Cao Ting, and Cao Ting supported herself with the wooden stick and stood up with the help of Yuan Diao, after she tried to walk a few steps. She felt that as long as she didn't go fast, there should be no big problem. She immediately praised the boy. At the top of the mound, Meng slapped Yuan Zhan's shoulder. Where did you this little slave? Tell me, I must go over there and get me one. Yuan Zhan smiled smugly. The youth slapped his hand and prideful said, this savage is favored by the god of the earth. Yang Wei regretted it, and looked at Cao Ting when she smiled like a flower. He was jealous and envious. As early as Cao Ting will admit feeling better, he will not deny it. The timid youth kept aiming at his master, hoping his master could help him. Bing was too lazy to take care for him, this guy was looking out for himself. Today, if this guy dares to drag everyone, he will kill him. Fortunately, the hard-hearted boy once again gave the young person a chance. Yang Wei, do you want your right foot to be completely disabled? Yang Wei didn't say that his feet are fine anymore. Just as the boy's voice was falling, he could hardly wait for the permission of his master, and dragged his legs to the boy at the fastest speed. Bing's face was blue and looked at Yang Wei back, his eyes were full of killing intentions. Yan Mo pressed down his disgust about Yang Wei, and looked calmly at the youth who sat in front of him. Untie the hay. Yan didn't know if it was to stop the pain, or to cover up. Yang Wei wrapped in the ankle of his right foot in circles of hay again and again. Yang Wei heard the instructions and quickly reached out and pulled the hay all out violently. Is my bone broken? I feel so much pain. I feel pain when my feet touch the ground. Yan Mo felt that this person is pitiful and sad, but at the same time he had a little admiration to him. Even with this much pain he can still follow the group and walk for so long, and on top of that he did not complain much last night. He could not only have a wound on his right foot and ankle. At that time, he was bruised by his master Bing. His body was blue and purple everywhere, and Yan Mo could barely see a person with a swollen face. Is there really timid person able tolerate this level of pain? And really timidly, he dared to toss Cao Ting to the iron-back dragons and dare to step on his master to climb outside the quicksand? You lay flat, I want to see if you have suffered internal injuries. Yang Wei's laid down and squeezed a happy smile to the boy. Yan Mo didn't want to respond, but his face automatically returned to the other person with a smile. Yang Wei felt reassured and the body is slightly relaxed. Yan Mo sneered in his heart, his eyes fell on Yang Wei, looking, smelling, asking, cutting, touching. After some inspections, Yang Wei's injury was already clear to Yan Mo. The Hale people seemed to have lost their sense of proportion, and the man was not hurt, but really it was just a skin injury. The pain is a bit above average, but it is not dying pain. After Yan Mo explained his physical condition to Yang Wei, he also closed his eyes. But he still didn't trust this person. When he saw the broken skin on the ankle, and he directly covered the other's face. After that, he began to deal with the bruises on the other side. Finally, the broken skin on the fixed ankle was fixed, and Yan Mo looked for Yuan Zhan. After he heard that, Bing Face and Yang Wei was taken and thrown over, his slave, he must be responsible. When Yang Wei could stand up with another wooden stick that Diao brought, the team finally set off again. After less than an hour, the surrounding weeds have grown to the thighs, and in some places, the weeds are even higher than people's height. Hey! Yan Mo slapped his face. It turns out that the grassland is not really grassland, there are not only animals, but insects. Someone looked at the bug in the palm and thought of it numbly. Only after a short walk, he killed more than 20 bugs flying to his face and arms. He finally couldn't chew all of them while walking, but letting them stay on him to suck his blood, eat his skin, and lick the salt on his ankle. There were a lot of bugs yesterday, but not much like this day. Because it was close to the desert and arid zone yesterday, does it mean that they have already entered the depths of the grassland? But the night is already so cold, how did these insects survive? Are they not only resistant to high temperatures, but also resistant to low temperatures? An angry Yan Mo kept smashing the various flying insects hovering around him. He felt hot and itchy. He could even feel some blood-sucking bugs crawling on him. But he can't take off the animal coat, because one, he has no place to put it, and there is a beast leather that at least covers the skin from the head to the foot, and only that exposes part of the skin to help him resist the invasion of most insects. It's too hot and too cold at night. Last night, he saw some red beans in his chest and abdomen, like a scorpion and folliculitis. Although bugs are annoying, they are not the most terrible, at least not for now. Yan Mo took a deep breath in, and Yuan Zhan wiped the sweat on the youth's face. Now their biggest enemy are the beasts lurking in the deep waist-high grass. Yan Mo doesn't know if they were tracked last night. All the way, they felt like they were followed by a group of either wolves or dogs. Yan Mo only took a glance and couldn't tell which animal it was, or how many of them there were, but the look on Lai and other warriors' faces made it seem that the animal may not be small. The warriors and the slaves were nervous. The warriors clasped the wooden spears tight all the way, and the spears were all placed sideways. Bing and missing teeth that have been responsible for watching the reel and have been going backwards halfway. Shan and Diao were responsible for guarding the left and right sides. No one talked, only different and heavy breathing, because they are on the alert. This time they are not walking very fast. No one stood straight, everyone was walking through the grass with their wits about, including Cao Ting and Yang Wei with crutches. Yuan Zhan, who was carrying Yan Mo, became the biggest one and became the most significant defended one. Those hyenas, because they are treated as hyenas, they are very patient. They are come closer and they stay far away, like deliberately scaring them, and waiting for them to be tired, sleepy, and attack them. Yan Mo's heart beat quickly, and he knows he was afraid. This situation is different from yesterday. Yesterday, the iron-backed dragons came too fiercely and suddenly. They only ran away, but today he actually felt the horror of being surrounded by danger and being threatened by it continuously. Ah! Yan Mo, who is highly concentrated, was shocked by the sound of this low-pitched beast. That is a beast, the size is almost the same as that of the iron-backed dragon. It has long hairs and a tail like a scorpion. They have sharp horn on their heads. The breath from its mouth can kill people. Yuan Zhan suddenly explained. Breath. Yet. Yan Mo wiped his face sweat with his hands. He thought that this animal sounded something not like a herbivore, and that the sound distance meant that the animal should not be far from them. Yuan Zhan thinks that the little slave was very considerate. Although he was very hot and carrying him, the little slave will sweat but still fan Yuan Zhan. Baiu. He doesn't know which kind of bird's cry it was heard far away in the vast grasslands and the sky. Yan Mo looked up and there were many large birds hovering in the sky. Looking at the shape of the birds that were close, Yan Mo suddenly trembled, wondering if they were also the targets of these fierce birds. After the scream, one wing unfolded. A savage bird with an eagle wing that was more than 2 meters long suddenly dipped over and rushed back to the sky after a while, but at this time his sharp claws had already caught something. It is an animal that looked like an antelope. Just as the fierce bird caught the prey and flew into the sky, many large birds were moving closer to it, but soon, a large bird of the same type but smaller body appeared like an escort, flying beside the companion. The other large birds that wanted to start a battle in the sky were willing to follow for a while, but they did not catch up. Suddenly, a leopard-like beast in the grass slammed into Shan. Shan made a low-pitched warning and the team stood up. But the huge leopard did not face Shan. When it stopped in front of Shan, he tried to poke it with a wooden spear. The leopard had already broken into the gap between Shan and Bing, and plunged into the Yang Wei who was limping. Yang Wei made a desperate scream, but he was scared enough to shut up. Although the giant leopard was terrible, it was meaningless to fight back like when he faced the iron-back dragon. He didn't run, but immediately grabbed the stick with one hand and lifted a sharp bone in one hand and smashed it down. His stone knife and leather skirt fell together. This stone was his means to defend himself. Yuan Zhan threw Yan Mo on the ground as soon as he heard the noise from Shan. He took the wooden spear and rushed to the leopard. The time difference would not exceed 2 seconds. Yan Mo saw such a huge wild leopard at a close distance, and his whole body shook in fear. Yan Mo was near pissing himself. At this time, if anyone comes to tell him that he should be so daring, he will definitely hack him with a stone knife. This is the deep-rooted instinct fear that human beings had passed down from the genetic memory staring at the beasts' faces. No special exercises can overcome it. Even he thinks that this leopard is more scary than the iron-back dragon. The unknown is scary, but it is the known that will make you scared before you have the courage to face it. At present, except for Bing and missing teeth that were responsible for the real, no one else has moved. However, there were only 4 people besieging the leopard. Lai is responsible for the whole group. He was not participating in the siege for the time being. His eyes were on the 4 slaves with few attacking abilities. The slaves also pulled out the stone axe or stone knives, and they automatically turned into a small circle. Even if they did not have the ability to attack, at least they must be able to protect themselves. Yan Mo thought that he couldn't sit on the ground like this, and immediately took Wen Sheng's arm and pulled himself to stand up, pretending to be a vain 1 foot, but also pulling out the stone knife and gnawing his teeth in one direction. He must adapt to the world, not let the world adapt to him. The giant leopard growled and hit the stone knife held by Yang Wei by its claws. Similarly, Yang Wei was also greeted by the other side's paw. Although the posture made by Yang Wei helped him avoid most of the attacks, but his face was still too close that he ended up with 2 more claw marks, and the blood came out, because the claws caught him near the eye. The hyenas who smelled the bloody smell were excited. They stopped the track and turned into a semicircular encirclement. If it weren't for the big leopard, maybe the hyenas would come together, and they were waiting when they group and the leopard both lose or one of either, and they will to get something for no hard work. After avoiding the first attack, Yang Wei rolled to the side, screaming and crying. After Bing reprimanded him, he quickly shut up, wiped the blood, and shivered and lifted the stone axe to protect himself. The giant leopard was flexible and fast. Although the claw has been slightly injured, it has little effect on it. Even if the 3 warriors armed with wooden spears are besieging, it will be easy to use, and even take time to see if there is any more suitable, more fat food. Yan Mo's eyes were careful, and it is right that heart is chilly. These beasts are not as cute as the nature geo in the animal world. Seeing his eyes, except for cold and cruelty, it only had the attachment to food. And unfortunately, he had seen the cheetah tearing all the people through and through, and that experience, he really didn't want to see it for the second time, and that experience also left him with a trauma whenever he saw the big cats he can't help but fear. It has been said that animals can be sensitive to the various emotions of people, especially fear and killing. The giant leopard's tail slammed and made a smothering attack posture against Shan, but when it was about to rush to the front to attack Shan, the giant leopard jumped over from Shan. Yan Mo knew that the danger was on his head, but his feet were like nails on the ground. He could only watch the giant leopard rushing to him. Yan Mo! Run away! Yuan Zhan was angry and worried, and he used all his strength to throw a spear.